One senator, Oregon Democrat Ron Wyden, wants to make it a law. He's the ranking member of the Senate Finance Committee, a member of the Joint Committee on Taxation. He's joining us live from Capitol Hill. Senator Wyden, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Why do you want to make this a law of the land that presidential candidates, presidential nominees release their tax returns?
First of all, Wolf, it's important to note that this means that Mr. Trump is the first nominee since Watergate not to release his tax returns. And I certainly hope that he'll do the right thing and he'll provide these answers that speak to your personal integrity to the American people. If he doesn't, I think it's important that the Congress pass my bill.
His campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, said this to the Huffington Post. He said, "I will be surprised if he puts them out. I wouldn't necessarily advise him to. It's not really an issue for the people we are appealing to. His tax returns are incredibly complicated. I wouldn't understand them. So how are the American people going to?" The financial disclosure he put out gives the salient points. And then he says the only people who want the tax returns are the people who want to defeat him. Now, you want to defeat him. You're a supporter of Hillary Clinton, right?
Well, first of all, I am, Wolf, but the reality is, and polls have shown that Americans overwhelmingly want this information. This has been an expectation for more than 40 years, and by the way, a majority of Republicans want it. And the excuses that Mr. Trump keeps giving, for example, that he's under audit for several of his reviews, that is an excuse. It is not a reason. The IRS says that these can be made available.
But his lawyers and his tax accountants, and we've checked with other lawyers, other tax accountants say that's a legitimate reason. You don't want to go public with a complicated audit that could further complicate what's going on between the IRS and these tax accountants. They say just keep it quiet, at least for now. After the audit is complete, that's a good time to release the tax returns. What do you say to those accountants?
I say that's just a parade of excuses. The reality is the IRS says that you can make this available. I mean, this is part of what kids do when they're just trying to conjure up excuses. The reality is we've now got 40 years of tradition. Democrats and Republicans. I've made it clear that this should apply to all nominees. And by the way, Wolf, let's put this in perspective. You mentioned the fact that I'm the ranking Democrat on the Finance Committee. You now could have a situation where Mr. Trump's nominees would have to make available 3 years' worth of records. If, say, they were an assistant secretary, they would be held to a higher standard than the commander-in-chief. That's not right.
Ron Wyden is the senator from Oregon. Senator, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.